What's up, guys? It's Rick with the Digital Divide. Today we're going to be talking about miniature things, specifically arcade machines. I went to a flea market the other day, and I happened to come across one of these guys. It is a mini arcade cabinet. It's very tiny. This one particularly was based on Rampage, so I thought it looked interesting, and I looked up the company. They're called Basic Fun, and apparently they make a lot of these. These are the two newest ones. They have the PacMan 40th Anniversary Edition, which comes in a special gold foil, as well as Tetris. And they make a bunch. You can see here they have Defender, which I'm not a huge fan of. They've got Spy Hunter, which is okay, Mortal Kombat, which is awesome. They've got the OG Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man, Dig Dug, which is great. That's a classic. I definitely want to get that one. Frogger, which is cool. Galaga, I'm not a huge fan of. And then Rampage, which is the one I got initially. Now, these guys also make standard versions of these, which are crap. Like, don't even bother with these. They're complete garbage. The screen quality on a lot of these, like this Pac-Man one right here, is complete and utter. This Pac-Man and the Space Invaders as well, it has just a really low quality screen. It's not even in color. It's like one of those old Tiger Electronics. They also make miniature versions of Whack-A-Mole, which is really cool because it's completely functional, just like in the arcade, as well as a mini version of Skee-Ball, which is really cool. So you could really make like a whole mini arcade thing here if you wanted to. Anyways, so I ended up getting these three. I got Tetris, which is one of the newest ones. I got Mortal Kombat because, of course, I did. It's awesome. And I got the Pac-Man 40th Edition, which comes with the special gold foil. Now, I'm going to be reviewing these for you, and this is what they look like out of the box. As you can see, Mortal Kombat's a little bit bigger than the other ones, and it has a 6-button layout. So I'm going to be reviewing these, and the criteria that I'm going to use to review these is basically arcade accuracy, the visuals and audio, and then fun factor. So we're going to start with Mortal Kombat, which is hands down my favorite of the bunch. This is also one of the more recent games in this package, and it's the biggest chassis of all of them. It also has 6 buttons. So it's a bit more complicated, but definitely awesome. The side art here is not arcade accurate to the original. I think that's probably taken from Mortal Kombat 3. And here's some gameplay. We're just going to jump in here so you can see. It was hard to get a good shot on the screen so you can get an idea of the quality, but hopefully you can see what's going on here. And again, this is the original Mortal Kombat 1, so character selection is going to be a little bit limited, but it does have all 6 buttons, and I'm not sure what version of the ROM this is actually running. I don't think it's the arcade one. It might be the Sega CD version. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, so we're going to get into screen selection here. You can see there's only 7 characters, but that's just like the original. I'm going to go with my boy Raiden, because he's the only one of these guys whose moves I actually remember, for the most part, how to use. You can see it's very, very arcade accurate. Animation, color accuracy is actually pretty good for this little machine. Now, one thing I'm noticing right off the bat, there is no blood. And I think the reason they did that is because this is sold in stores, and I think the age cap is 13, so if they had all the gore, then you'd have to be 18 enough to buy it. So I think in order to appeal to a mass market, they took the blood out. I think Nintendo did the same thing when it was released on the Super Nintendo. But it's not a big deal. Not too concerned about that. The game is fun as hell to play so far. Controls are great. And I don't know how to do any of the finishers, any of the fatalities. I actually don't even know if they're in this. But guys, I love this game. I love the cabinet design. The controls are great. The only gripe I have is the sound is a little tingy, But overall, I'm going to rate this a 9 out of 10. Definitely worth the $20 that this thing cost me. So guys, the next game we're going to move to is Rampage. This is my least favorite game. Originally released in 1986, it is super basic and simplistic when it comes to what you're actually doing, the gameplay. I do like the front of the art on the cabinet. The side is just a bunch of lines, so there really isn't a whole lot of art there. This is one of the more basic designs. I think this is one of the earlier cabinets that they put out. So we're going to jump into some gameplay here. You can see the resolution on the screen is not horrible. Like, considering how small this thing is, it's actually really good. Alright, so I'm going to be the wolf. And again, guys, like I said, this game is super simple when it comes to gameplay. You're literally just crawling up the buildings and smashing them until they fall down. It's probably my least favorite of the four that I have. And again, this came out before my time, so I don't have a lot of nostalgia for it. I picked it up at the flea market for literally $1, and that got me down the rabbit hole. I thought it was really cool looking, so even though I'm not like a huge Rampage guy, I was curious to see what other cabinets this company put out. So this was the catalyst to get me into the mini gaming world. And it's not bad. I mean, it's a great... The cabinet is arcade accurate. The game is essentially perfect. So if you're a fan of Rampage, this is a great buy. Again, all of these cost $20 at Walmart. So I'm personally not a huge fan of this game. I find it a bit too simplistic. So for my personal rating on this one, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. But again, take that with a grain of salt. If you are a huge Rampage person, if you grew up playing this game as a kid, then rate it higher. I did not. And the next game on the list is Tetris. This is a classic. Originally released June 6th, 1984. This is this game has been ported to every device on the planet. The front art looks pretty good there. It's got 2 buttons that rotate on either side. It's got some side art here with some Russian-looking buildings. Everyone knows Tetris, so let's get into some gameplay here. I do like the coin sound when you turn it on. The funny thing, though, is that this is not the arcade version of this game. I think this is built specifically for this unit. A lot of these options here were not in the original. But, it's Tetris, so there's only so much you can do with it visually. I did not mean to drop that there. Now, the controls are great. Music is good, although I think this is the only track in the game. Graphics are actually really, really decent. You're looking at a bunch of blocks, but compared to the arcade original, this is not, it looks better than that one. But, dock some points if you're a diehard arcade enthusiast. This is not the version that you played back in the 80s, but it is Tetris. It's fun as hell, and I love Tetris. I own multiple versions, the most recent being Tetris on the Xbox. It just came out. I think it was originally a VR game on PlayStation, Tetris Effect, I believe. And guys, I'm only going to play this until I get past the first level. The blocks slowly go faster. This is the endless marathon mode. guys, I'm going to rate this a 7 out of 10. You can't go wrong with Tetris, especially if you're a puzzle fan. Now, last but not least is Pac-Man, originally released in 1980. This game is a classic, and I gotta say, this cabinet is gorgeous. I love the artwork on the front. I love the gold foil that is unique to this 40th anniversary special edition. They do have another one that's like a more simple OG version of this cabinet made by the same company. We're gonna jump into some gameplay here. Again, I love the front of this. I love all the graphics. This is probably my favorite looking of all the ones that I have so far. And again, screen quality on these is surprisingly good given how small they are. Color accuracy is great. Because the screens are so small, the pixel density is pretty impressive. Now, I will say for Pac-Man, I wish they would have went with a vertical screen instead of the 4:3 aspect ratio, because as you can see, it is really small, and there's a lot of real estate on the left and the right that is not being utilized, and that sucks. I wish they would have made a cabinet that was vertically designed and specific for this one, kind of like the one they made for Mortal Kombat. That was a 6-button, completely different layout, taller cabinet, and that was designed to better accommodate that game. I wish they would have done this with Pac-Man. Pac-Man is awesome. I love this game. It's one of my favorites. One of the older games in the bunch, but still holds up to this day. Again, my only gripe with this version of this game is that it is really small and hard to see a little bit on the screen, as you can see here, but still controls great. Sounds perfect. I mean, this is an arcade perfect port of this game. And I could play this for days. It's so fun. Although I think Miss Pac-Man's a better game. Anyways, I'm going to rate this one an 8 out of 10, and the only reason it didn't get a 9 or 10 out of 10 is because of the screen issue that I mentioned. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. I'm sure I'll release another video when I buy more of these. But I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Bye.